This has been a very difficult um, for me to discuss what happened to me because it has been very traumatic, and but as I got to know the lawyers, you know, they were very nice to me, and we became very close, and now I feel like they are almost a part of my family because they have helped me so much. And I didn't really like the mental evaluation because it is something that is not accepted really in my country. But, you know, I understand that this is what the court needs to hear. I didn't understand everything that went on in court, but after Dr. Macholka's testimony, I understood a little better what the case was, and I am very happy to have received asylum, and I can't wait to start a new life, and I hope that I never have to think about this or talk about this again, and I just can't wait to become a new person.
What I noticed in going against pro bono attorneys is there are major differences between a normal pro bono attorney and someone who maybe does immigration law. Pro bono attorneys may spend more time preparing because this is their opportunity to be in court to actually make presentations, which means sometimes we're inundated with additional documentation, but more likely that the actual record has all the documents that we would find necessary. There were several issues in this case that I thought were typical of many cases. I find that credibility is always an important issue, and if nothing else, it's because many of these people come to the United States and there's no other way to test whether their claim is real other than to ask whether they're credible or try to find out whether they're credible. It's also important that the documentation that they do manage to come along is tested well. So one thing you'll find is that trial attorneys often try to test documents forensically to ensure that the people, what they're saying is actually true through sometimes the only way that it's able to prove from the outside that it is true, by testing documents. And that's something that we saw in this case as well.
This was really a challenging and inspiring experience. Asylum law is an incredible area to get involved in where you can make a powerful difference in bringing justice to the lives of very vulnerable people who are here just seeking freedom and safety in the United States. The knowledge and skills that I gained in the course of representing our client were incredible, and skills that I definitely, can now use in my private practice. We had the experience of client interviewing, as well as affidavit preparation, as well as witness preparation, preparing for, dealing with a client subjected to cross-examination. It was a complete, lesson in trial advocacy. I've never prepared a closing statement before. It was exciting and invigorating. It also was really great for people at our firm because they got excited by the work that we were doing, and we were able to bring in paralegals to help us out on different aspects of the case, as well as secretaries were helping us as well, and our partners were very enthusiastic about, about our representation, and really did afford the time and resources necessary that we needed to zealously advocate for our client. It was also a great experience working with an interpreter. That was something very new, and really figuring out how to ensure accurate interpretation with an interpreter. And there are just incredible resources out there for people to actually get involved in these cases and provide quality representation to people. There are many listservs out there of expert immigration practitioners that people can reach out and get advice on how to prepare clients' cases. And the case law is pretty elastic, so one really needs some kind of rigorous education on how to hone the client's case to be able to meet the statutory definition of refugee. But I just found it to be a really exciting experience. It was also really great in terms terms of having several attorneys at my firm working on this case, because we were able to forge a really effective division of labor. When I realized that my client was bonding better with my colleague, who was a woman attorney, particularly given her traumatic experiences of having been raped, I realized that it would be better, or we realized together that it would be better that my colleague conduct the direct examination, and I would focus more on the legal arguments and procedural arguments, and we worked in tandem on that. But we were able to divide the case into very concrete, discrete tasks, and in the course of it, now I think we've got the basis to collaborate on other projects in the future. So it really is very relevant also for team building at law firms. So I would definitely recommend it to anyone, and the resources and support are there to get involved, and you can make an incredible difference in the lives of children as well as adults who are fleeing persecution and deserve the best our laws have to offer.
Well, it's really hard to express just how happy I am about this case. I mean, not only just the outcome, but the entire experience. I've been a tax attorney with my firm for 5 years now, and I don't litigate, and I was really nervous about the prospect of going to court and playing a big part in the litigation of this case. And also, I'm used to dealing with representatives of our corporate clients, and so one thing I really wanted to do with this case was make sure it was very client-centered. This isn't a big corporate client. This is a very vulnerable girl who has lost control of a lot of things in her life, and I wanted her to be in control of this case. Another big part of that was I knew how important it was to create trust among the three of us. If she doesn't trust us, she's not going to tell us the full story, and credibility is really the most crucial part of asylum cases. I think another really important part of our case was the help we got from experts. It's not just a document written by an expert that we pulled off the internet. This was the actual expert coming to testify in court about our client, and that makes a huge difference in asylum cases as well. It was difficult a lot of times. I mean, I really felt for my client, and I think I probably had some secondary trauma. I know that I lost some sleep over this case, and I felt like I actually, relived what she went through and just thought about it quite a bit. So it was just really exciting for me when we won her case. And I think we have, a really enduring bond with our client. I think of her, I guess, as my little sister, and I'm looking forward to seeing her graduate from high school and go to college.
What I saw from this case, number one, is the value of attorneys to asylum applicants. In this particular case, for example, the respondent who had what I thought was a relatively strong case, but so many things can go wrong. Number one, the way she tells her story. Number two, the emotional barriers that they face, as well as language barriers. Attorneys coming in, helping an individual get emotionally able to tell their story. The most important part of any case is the story that's told on the stand by the asylum applicant. And attorneys, in this case especially, you saw that the pro bono attorneys spent hours and hours getting her to the point where she could tell her story in a consistent way that came off credible. There still were some problems with credibility, but had they not sat with her and spent a bunch of time with her getting to that point, I think there would have been major problems with credibility. The other part that pro bono attorneys played in this case, which was significant, was the role of the expert witness. And again, pro bono attorneys and just anyone that's attorneys coming in, getting experts, getting the documents necessary from overseas make a huge difference. In the cases that I've seen, it is a small percentage that are granted, and it's probably less than 20% of these cases that are granted, 20 to 25% on a nationwide average, or maybe less. That increases significantly when there is an attorney involved, getting an applicant ready to present their case, getting the documents necessary. In this case, Service Counsel for the Department of Homeland Security also was extremely prepared and made strong points. Had there not been an attorney on the other side, it's very likely that in spite of the fact that she underwent severe hardship, she would not have been granted, because it's not just showing the harm. It's not just showing that bad things happen to you. You also have to establish why these things, or at least give a reasonable basis to show why these things happened. And that was a major issue in this case, and I think counsel for both sides battled that out, and I found that the benefit of the doubt in this case should have gone with the applicant. But there were issues there right through. The one thing I think I wanted to say is the benefit to the court. I mean, not only for us, when we come in as judges and we see these cases prepared and the documents there and a witness gets on the stand and you can tell that they work with them, it makes a huge difference in the mind of the judge in terms of whether or not he's going to grant or deny a case. And that is something that is not really stated in any law book, but it's there. When you know the case has been prepared and you know people put effort in, it really makes a difference. Lastly, I think the attorneys in this case come away with a huge benefit. You take somebody through what's probably the darkest part of their life and get them through that to the other side, and it's something that nobody ever forgets. And I think you see the attorneys and the asylum applicant are both pretty much changed for the better forever. So it was a good case. It was well represented on both sides, and I granted it.
I hope this video has been informative. If you reach an impasse when representing an asylum seeker, refer back to the video and accompanying training materials. Representing an asylum seeker pro bono makes a world of difference in their lives. Many people, including myself, have found that it really is a life-changing experience. As lawyers, we have special skills and knowledge. I encourage you to use yours on behalf of someone in need.